Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. If you're new to the channel, me and my husband live on about 18 acres in the foothills of North Carolina. Today we're planting our field corn and Andy's doing a little experiment he's going to tell you about.
Y'all, it's that time of year again. Hard to believe, but it is. But anyways, you know, a lot of people back in the old days kept their corn seeds and kept what ears were good ears, what stalks done, you know, different traits and stuff, and they'd keep the ears off of that stalk. And that's what they would say for their seed. So that's what we done last year with our Hickory King corn and our Jimmy Red corn. Well, I'm probably going to do something today that might be frowned upon by some, but I just want to see what it'll do. So both corns had characteristics that I liked. The Hickory King was tight, like the grains were tight on it, and it was just really hard to shell. So, which was a good thing in a way because those tight kernels keep the insects out. But anyways, I loved the growth habit of the Hickory King. I loved the long ears of the Hickory King. And the Hickory King just seemed to do better up here in our soil. And the Jimmy Red did good too, but it didn't do as good as the Hickory King. And so this year, there were some qualities about the Jimmy Red that I liked as well. Those were, it was a whole lot easier to shell. You got a whole lot fatter ear about it. And it just, that smaller kernel seemed to be better for our animals and stuff, like if we did give them whole corn. Most of the time it was ground up, but if we did give whole corn, they seemed to like the smaller kernel corn better. So I'm going to try something this year, and I took the best of the Hickory King and the best of the Jimmy Red and shelled it out, and I have it together. Now this is mostly Hickory King, but I've got, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 ears of the Jimmy Red in here as well. And we're going to let it mix together and cross-pollinate and possibly, I guess you could say, make our own hybrid. And the seed that we get out of this, if this does good this year, doing what we want it to do, we will keep the best of that next year and replant and replant and replant. And eventually, theoretically, I don't know if I'm right or not, and anybody in the comments, if you know, please tell me. But I think eventually, after doing this so many years, those seed will start to come back true to the seed, and it'll almost be like you created your own cultivar. I may be completely wrong about that, but I do think that's how this eventually will work. So anyways, we're going to get it put in our little cold planter here. We're going to plant about half of this field here. And now we're not at our house. This is the piece of land we have up above our house. So we're going to plant about half of this field and see what happens. We're supposed to be getting rain tomorrow, so I'm hoping that this is the perfect time to plant it. So I guess we get started with it. Let's make sure it's going to work. I've already got a bunch on the ground. Yep, it's dropping.
I'm not sure if we clarified or not, but this is field corn, not sweet corn. So this will be harvested in the fall once it dries. This past year, we used it for a lot of animal food. That was the main thing we used it for. And I occasionally ground cornmeal with it. And it worked really well. The animals seemed to really love it. We've got the little grinder down there to crack chicken scratch. I'll link a video if you want to see our little setup down there. I did one recently, you know, showing a video about how I use my extra milk. So I'll crack the corn and let it soak in milk.
Just this regular little 10-10-10 fertilizer here for planting this. We may have to go back and top dress it with something later on. I'll probably actually use 10-10-10 if I have to top dress it too. But I do want to note that this was planted in a cover crop over the winter. We had crimson clover and I believe it was one of those tillage radishes. I can't remember the name of which one it was we had. But anyways, if you look around out here, you can kind of see some of the residue of the cover crop. You see a lot of the stems and stuff still. All that right there is from that clover. But it was beautiful. I have a picture on my phone, and I'll see if Megan can insert it into the video here. But the clover was up about this tall. And it was gorgeous. I wish I could have left it until it all bloomed, because it would have just been one big mat of red. But we had to get this done. I just want to talk about that for a minute. I ain't quite putting as much fertilizer as I did last year. I just want to see if that truly helps it out some. And I'm hoping that maybe we don't have to go buy and top dress this corn with fertilizer. Who knows? But this whole thing's just one big experiment. And I get pretty excited about cross-pollinating this corn here. So I'm like, I cannot wait till fall to see what we unwrap when we go to pick this corn.
So me and Jacob walked right across the road to our potato patch where we planted potatoes this year. This is a new spot than what you've seen before. It's good to move your potatoes every so often, and we have been planting them in the same spot about 3 years. So now we've moved them up here. You can see we're right across the road from where we were. So we're gonna walk around and see if we see any coming up. As you can see, the weeds already taking it over. Which Andy had some, was it ryegrass?
I don't know.
I can't remember either. Planted over here as a cover crop, and we tilled it under, but there still is some coming back, which before he leaves from up here, he says he's gonna come through with the tractor. There's one coming through.
Where?
We planted these a couple weeks ago.
I think we planted them in
So we
March.
thought we'd just walk over here and see if we see any.
I think
There's
we
plenty of deer tracks.
I think we planted them in March or February.
We didn't plant them in no February.
Well, March. I think we planted them in March.
There's one, no, that ain't one.
It's a baby.
Yeah. It's a baby tater.
It's a baby later.
Yep.
See you later, baby.
When we purchased this area here, the field across the road just needed a lot of bush hogging, and Andy took care of that. But this right here was actually all grown up mess.
Trees.
A lot of trees, a lot of grown up mess. And so we had it cleared, and we sowed it, and it has really turned into a beautiful spot.
There's a tater, and there's a tater, and there's a tater, and there's a tater, and there's a tater. A whole bunch of taters right
They're
there.
starting to come up.
And that tater, that tater.
Also, while Daddy's planting corn, we found us some workable clay. What? Alright, y'all, Andy's got a couple more rows to go. Let us know what you think about our big experiment, and we hope we can show you some corn coming up here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm gonna let him finish, and I'm gonna go home and fix some supper. So anyways, like I said, let us know in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one.